You ever see a story so tangled up in secrets and old habits that the only way out is to rip the whole thing wide open? Yeah, that's what happened here. And trust me, it didn't start with some big moment. It started with a whisper, a sideways glance, a woman named Gloria practically shouting across the marble floors that the new nanny was drugging the Whitmore twins, and in a house where nobody had slept through the night in months. That kind of accusation sticks, you know what I mean? Mr. James Whitmore, grieving, loaded, running on guilt and caffeine, stood there caught between his housekeeper of 15 years and Kesha Williams, a young black woman who, up until she arrived, was just another name on a long list of nannies who didn't make it past the first week. Only now his girls were sleeping, eating, even laughing again, and somehow that was a problem for some folks in the house, folks who thought peace had to come with a catch. Gloria didn't just accuse. She put on a show, arms flying, voice sharp enough to cut through stone, calling out Kesha's lack of proper references, her city background, her suspiciously calm vibe. Thing is, Kesha didn't flinch. She just looked at James and offered up cameras in the twins' room. Right there, no hesitation. You ever meet someone who's so sure of their truth that you start doubting your own suspicions? That was her. She spoke like someone who'd been here before, in other houses, other halls, always being tested, never being trusted. James, to his credit, paused. He looked at Kesha and noticed the way she spoke about trauma and neuroscience, the way she corrected the pediatrician without being condescending, the fact that just 3 weeks ago, he'd practically begged the agency to send anyone who could last more than 2 nights without quitting. 6 nannies had failed before Kesha even set foot on his doorstep. Now, here was Gloria talking about poison, as if happy children were more suspicious than miserable ones. But let me back up a sec, because Kesha, for all her calm, knew this script by heart. She'd grown up on the east side of Detroit, her mom a cleaner in houses like this, watching women like Gloria guard their little empires of influence like pit bulls, always threatened by anyone different. What nobody knew, though, was that Kesha had a master's in child psychology, that she'd done more for traumatized kids than any 10 nannies with sparkling recommendations. And she was here on purpose, not by accident. Gloria, losing her grip, went for the jugular. Why is she so calm, Mr. James? Why is she not scared? A normal woman would be freaking out. And Kesha, God, you had to see it, just looked at her and said, "Actually, I do know something you don't," and the whole room froze. She started listing the twins' nightmares, the exact time Ruby woke up sweating because she dreamed of falling, the way Rose couldn't sleep unless every door was double-checked, that quiet panic you can only get from losing your mom in a car wreck. And suddenly, James realized he'd never told anyone those details. Then came the twist, that moment you never see coming. Kesha turns to Gloria and brings up the messages she'd been sending about her to the elite domestic workers WhatsApp group, how she'd been undermining every new nanny, spinning stories about Kesha being out for a payday, all that poison cloaked as concern for the family. And when Gloria's face goes white, you realize Esh's not afraid of Kesha. She's afraid of being caught. James starts asking questions, and Kesha, cool as ever, pulls out a folder, says, "You want the truth? Here it is." Turns out, before she even took the job, Gloria had already called the girl's pediatrician trying to dig up dirt on her. And the doctor, Patricia Coleman, had left a message clear as day saying Kesha was one of the top trauma specialists in Michigan, that she only took this job because she was investigating something bigger than childcare. James felt like the ground dropped out beneath him. He'd trusted Gloria for years, leaned on her advice, never realizing she was the architect behind more than a few firings at his own company, starting with Marcus Johnson, a black engineer who designed his last project and got let go for not fitting the culture. The same Marcus Johnson who, it turns out, was Kesha's younger brother. See, this is where everything shifted. The story wasn't about nannies or twins or sleepless nights. It was about the ways racism hides in plain sight, how it moves through houses and boardrooms and HR departments, whispered under the cover of cultural fit. Kesha laid it all out: documents, emails, the whole network Gloria had built between her housework and her whispers to HR. 16 Black and Latino employees fired or sidelined over 3 years, always after a call or a note from Gloria. James, shaking, asked why Kesha had come, why she put herself through all this. Her answer was simple: because if I don't, nothing changes. Because your daughters deserve better than to grow up in a house where the color of your skin decides whether you're trusted or not. She'd been documenting everything since day one, every comment, every underhanded move, every moment someone tried to twist the truth against her. That's when Gloria tried one last desperate move, accusing Kesha of manipulating even the kids. Kesha didn't even blink. She pulled up video from Ruby's birthday, showed Gloria's own words at a party, her offhand comments about people like me. She showed messages from nanny groups, shared without permission. James finally saw what was really happening. Fired Gloria on the spot. 15 years of trust shattered in 15 minutes of evidence. But the story didn't end with Gloria walking out. No, the fallout was bigger than that. James ordered a full audit at his company, reached out to every employee who'd been let go under cultural pretenses, offered reinstatements and apologies. 5 supervisors lost their jobs for complicity. Whitmore Industries rewrote their hiring policies from the ground up. Blind applications, no photos, no names. And all because one woman decided not to run from injustice, but to walk straight through it, documenting every step. 6 months later, Marcus Johnson was back at the company, now director of sustainable development, running projects designed for communities that looked like his. Ruby and Rose went to a more diverse school. Kesha still visited, not as the help, but as family Aunt Kesha, the one who taught them that courage doesn't always look like a sword. Sometimes it's a notebook and a quiet smile. Gloria, stripped of her network, ended up working at a hotel, her old reputation shot. None of the families she'd served would touch her name after the recordings got around. Kesha, meanwhile, took her story to a bigger stage, started consulting for other companies and hospitals, helping them root out bias and document the truth. The real end? That's up for debate, right? Some folks think justice means punishment, seeing Gloria go down. Others say it's about transformation, watching a family and a business change for the better. But maybe the real lesson is this: privilege can blind us, but it can also be used to build something better if we're brave enough to look, to listen, to act. So, tell me ahead, do you think? Was James right to trust Kesha and start over? Or was he just saving face? Was Gloria a product of her environment, or the architect of her own downfall? Is true justice exposing the truth, or building a bridge to something new? Drop your thoughts below. Let's talk about what real change looks like in a world still haunted by the past.